All right, guys, let me know. Can anybody out there hear me? If you can, we're going to try this number 2. We had to restart our audio issues. Oh, God. Yeah, we've got some serious snow on the go here, but the worst is the wind. So if you guys can see me, somebody give me a thumbs up in the comments there. That would be great. And with that, maybe we'll get started. Hey, so we'll give it just one more minute. So you guys, yeah, you already heard my intro there to begin with. So we will just give it a sec, make sure everybody's good. And looks like we got 5. Hey, and we are live. Hey, one step closer. Good to have you. All right, so we're going to try this all over again. If we drop off again, guys, we are going to cancel for tonight, and we will do it tomorrow night. Same bat time, same bat channel. But here we are. So how are you, Mrs. Cook?
I'm good.
Good. So this has just been one of those roll with the punches kind of nights, guys. My guest who was supposed to come on canceled 90 minutes before the show. So then my beautiful wife said, hey, I'll come on with you. And I said, hey, anytime I can get you to come and share the spotlight with me makes me happy. So we decided to come on and talk about preparing for Christmas, something that we have had many a year's experience with, haven't we, baby? Mm-hmm. So we spent today, you signed up for a cookie exchange, right?
Well, a couple weeks ago.
Weeks ago. Yeah. So we prepped for the cookie exchange today.
Yeah. And it was it's the second one that I've done.
Yeah. And it's kind of fun. Hey, so you've got, it's you and 7 other women?
Yes.
And you exchange a dozen cookies each. So we did more than 8 dozen cookies today, didn't we?
Yeah. Probably 10, 11 dozen of the chocolate ones and some sugar cookies. So.
There. How's that, guys? I had it working before, but when we look at each other, we look the wrong way. So now I believe we're looking the right way. Oh boy, what a night, hey? What a night. And yes, Chris Dixon, you were right. He said that what a trade to have you instead of whoever was supposed to be on. So
Thank you.
So yeah. What a fun night. So we over the years we've gotten pretty good at what do you want to call it? Doing not a chain gang, but an assembly line in the kitchen. Hey.
Yep.
So one thing that we find when we start doing baking and that sort of stuff is we each kind of take a role, right? Like today, kind of explain what we do when we.
Well, I always start the first batch.
Yes.
And then like with the chocolate crinkle cookies, you have to roll them out in the icing sugar and put them on the trays and everything. So I start doing that, and then you continue on making batches and drop them into the bowl, and I just keep rolling and baking.
So, hey, Mr. Bearded Homesteader, good to have you. Yeah, so we try to streamline things because we, over the years, we have always ended up, we always do a metric shit ton of stuff, don't we? We never do things small. So when it comes to baking, of course, when I first met you, I would bake. But you know what I would do? I would leave a goddamn mess in the sink. And so at the end, I would end up having a huge mess to clean up, which was horrible.
Well, huge mess. And me pissed off in the kitchen, slamming things around and cleaning everything up. And
that is very true.
And you off doing something else. And then,
So we switched, or she taught me how to clean up as I go, right? Yes. That was a huge thing for us. So first thing we did was, like I said, we get an assembly line going. So and that kind of saves time. So you get me in front of the mixing bowl. And today it was like 2 cups of sugar, a cup of oil, some flour, and everything would go in and we'd mix it. And then I'd dump it over to her, and she was over handling the stove, the oven side of things. But the other thing that we realized, one step closer says the quickest way to a woman's heart is through cleaning up.
Yes.
Yep. So you taught me, and I have since taught the girls the same thing.
I've taught the kids the exact same thing. When you're on your last batch of cookies or whatever, your last batch, as soon as you put that tablespoon or cup into the thing or like into your mixing bowl, you put it right away in the cupboard.
Yes. Clean it first.
Like the oil.
Oh, yeah.
You put the oil away. Then you put the baking soda away. Then you put the baking powder away. When you're done with the eggs, you put them right back in the fridge. And then that way, when it's all said and done, all you're left with is just basically your bowl.
Yep.
And whatever you're using to mix it with. And then it's a lot easier to clean up as you go.
One thing we found is, of course, baking ahead of time for Christmas, right?
Yes.
We keep the big, what are they, Ziploc freezer bags. Mm-hmm. We keep those on hand. And then we, make sure they cool off enough and stack them nice and flat in the freezer. And that tends to take we've taken this kind of approach to holidays for a while, haven't we? Where we
Yeah.
do as much ahead of time. Talk about that a little bit, baby.
Well, I've always prepared ahead of time. When the kids were, when the 3 older kids were younger, I pretty much started buying in July.
Yes.
And basic, because like we were on a set budget and income,
very, very slight income.
And
yes.
I don't know if anybody, well, it wouldn't apply to anybody in the States, but anybody in Canada, if you are tight for money at Christmas time, there is an incredible program that I have been doing now for, I want to say 10 years at least.
Which one?
Santa's Choice.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Yeah. I think they have that in Canada or in the States, don't they?
No, I think it's because they're in Toronto. But anyway, it's called Santa's Choice, and it is in Canada. As far as I know, I don't think it's available in the States, unfortunately, unless there's a different type of program.
Sometimes known as Crisco as well.
It's Crisco Christmas hampers now.
Yes.
So what you do is you sign up, you go online and you fill out the registration form, and then you pick what you want. And what they do is they take what you want, they total it all up, and then they divide it up over 10 months, and then you pay for it every month. And then at the end of November, you receive it.
Yes.
And like, we don't do the...
Martinson said they did Santa's Choice a while ago. Yes.
Oh, I love it. I've been doing it. I don't do the groceries anymore.
Yes.
We don't do the groceries anymore.
The reason being
is when we were in Nova Scotia, it was totally okay. When we came out here in Alberta, our first Christmas out here that we had it, everything showed up frozen.
And we found that the food, so with the gift cards we buy, the price is good, but the food we found was overpriced, wasn't it?
Yeah, the food was overpriced, and it wasn't like when you do cost comparison to like Walmart, yeah, it's exactly like a layaway.
Yep.
It is, but they spread it out over 10 months, and during the year, if you can't afford a payment or if you miss a payment, they'll call you and say, hey, do you want to subtract something, or do you want to stop now and you can just get what you want? And it doesn't, like, they don't ding you for anything like that. But I do it all year. And actually they should be, well, I don't know if they'll be here tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, they won't be here tomorrow.
But on Tuesday, I have like $2,500 worth of gift cards coming. And like, I don't go out and spend the $2,500, but I take the gift cards and I give them to people as gifts. And when we go to our shopping trip with my sister and my brother-in-law, we get the restaurant cards. So basically it pays for like 2 of our dinners. And then we get the Indigo gift cards because our twins love love Indigo and love books. And that's and they have like, and I looked recently because I signed up for next year already. But they've got like the new Xboxes, the Quest VR sets,
that stuff is a bit, it's not a great price, but we found the gift cards were great though.
You know what though, like if you have a child or something that's all they want, and you're willing to pay a little bit of extra for it, you know what? It's better than coming up with like $600-700 in December, right? So
absolutely,
yeah. And
he said they don't bash you over the head when life hits you. It's a huge thing. You're talking about pricing.
Yeah, no, and they don't, right? Like, and because like not, but like years ago when we ran into some issues before we moved out here, I missed September and October's payments. So they called me up and they said, hey, your payments are done. These are the 2 payments you missed. So this is what your total is. This is what we'll send you.
Yeah. It's not like you lose any of the money.
No, you don't lose any of the money, and they don't ding you any charges, right? Like, and it is good. I found it's good for people who are on like a tight budget and you don't have to do hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Like,
well, when we first started out, I mean,
like I think it was like $86 a month.
Yeah. Right. So it was like maybe $1,000 worth of groceries / gift cards. And now we use, like I said, we do what, Canadian Tire is a big one.
Canadian Tire, Indigo, Sports Check, and the Cara restaurants like Swiss Chalet and Montana's, and
everybody in the States like, what the hell are these idiots talking about? It's all foreign to us. Yeah.
But no, that is a great program.
It is, and it works good. And when we first did it, we did it. I mean, we always do it because it helps spread the cost out throughout the year, and then it's our highlight week. Remember one year we didn't do it.
Oh, I was so bummed.
And then as Christmas is coming along, she kept saying, "Oh, I should have done it. I should have done it. I should have." And then we're like, "Oh, well, we did it." So
yeah, no, I don't know. It's kind of like a reward.
Yeah,
at the end of the year because like if I have all my Christmas shopping done, and then I'm getting $1,000 to spend at Canadian Tire. And all the kids are done, then I use it and I buy stuff for next year, like clearance Christmas wrapping and decorations and I use it for that kind of stuff. And gift cards don't go bad either, so you can hang on to them. And then in 6 months, if you have $500 or $600 worth of gift cards, say you need new tires.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's the great thing, and we found quite often that we'd get a lot of shopping done anyway ahead of time. So then we'd have these gift cards and we'd sit on some. Remember?
Yep.
We sat on some to the end of January, which was something for us. And
and it was really nice to have. And like when we went up to the city, we had
I bought some DeWalt tools with a couple of leftover cards.
Yeah, I think you did. It's just and gift cards don't expire and they don't, but you can hang on to them. But it is fun too. Like if you actually do use it for your Christmas shopping, it is fun having like a $1,500 shopping spree at Canadian Tire or Indigo, right? Like you just like you go and you do all kinds of shopping and it's fun. So
one step closer, that has got to be one of the best comments of the night. He said, "Can we call clips of this program Timbits or will we get sued?" I think that, oh my God, I love it. For the record, in elementary school, that was my nickname, was Timbit. So, and Joe says, "When you run to the auto parts store, do you get Canadian Tired?"
We don't go to the auto parts too much in Canadian Tire.
Their service is horrible. They have great selection, great sales, but their customer
service sucks.
Yeah,
and horrible. I think like I don't know, was it like 3 or 4 years ago? I threatened to sue them.
It was so bad.
Because the mechanic put the brakes on wrong in our van, and then it busted 2 of the rotors. Busted 2 of the rotors. Then they refused to go good for them, and oh my goodness, I had to get a lawyer involved. It was awful.
If Chris Dixon's still in here, he knows I love Canadian Tire, but as much as I love Canada Post, so.
I don't like Canadian Tire at all. But I do like shopping there as long as you don't have to deal with any of the people that work there.
So something else we used to do, of course, was buy the sales or more so the clearances ahead of time. Remember, one year we went to Ontario, and remember they had action figures. On for like $1 at the it was a music store, wasn't it?
Yeah,
didn't we?
It was.
And we bought how many? I don't even remember how many we bought. Probably 30 or something.
It was a lot.
They were like horror action figures. So, and it was something the kids were into, and we were on a very, very tight budget. And so we brought them all home. Remember, we hid them in an old dresser in the basement for like 4 months.
And Walmart always has those hairbrush accessory kits and those makeup kits and everything. Remember?
Oh yeah.
And they don't have them as much as they used to anymore. But I used to buy those at the end of the year, and you'd get them for like $3.50, and then that would be good for Easter and be good for birthday presents. And
they were in. So when you go into Walmart, they're always in the seasonal section, right?
Yes.
And they come out. They're like it's like a toiletry pack for girls or a toiletry pack for boys. And we would fill up a whole closet because we'd buy it for pennies on the dollar for clearance.
And invited to birthday parties, like if they get invited to a birthday party, hey, you send a pack of nail polish or makeup, and like none of it says Christmas on it, so you can use it all year. And I found none of the stuff ever went bad or
no. And it was cheap. And if something happened to one package out of 40, well, you didn't lose any money anyway.
No, not really. And in this weekend too, my sister and I went to Lloyd, and we're even early on this, but we bought everything we need for Christmas dinner.
Well, we were a little concerned about shortages and prices, right?
Well, prices of turkeys are. Yeah. We got.
Talk about some of the prices you saw, baby.
Oh, the prices were a lot very extreme.
Yeah, the blueberries and raspberries.
Well, a double pack of raspberries was $8. Small pack of blueberries was $9,
and it was a small pack of blueberries. It wasn't the smallest, but it wasn't the bigger ones.
The turkey I bought was 6.3 kilograms.
Yeah,
and
so
that was
15 pounds.
That was $38. So
we paid almost $2 a pound for turkey this year. Wow.
So that was $38. But Superstore had it was a set price. It wasn't.
Oh, they have those bins now, right?
Yeah. But they were butterball turkeys too.
Yep.
So like anything over 7.5 was $48 or $42, and these ones were $38. And so we got the $38 ones. But like all the lunch meat's gone up, the yogurt's gone up, cheese, like everything was, yeah.
It's getting out of control.
Yeah, like we did not get very much stuff. Like it was a cart, like it had like bread and stuff in it, but it was like $180, and I didn't get everything I needed for Christmas dinner. So
talk about our we have as a family a Facebook chat room, right, or a messenger. Yeah. So what is the reason behind that, right?
That is our Christmas plans Facebook.
Yes.
Basically, we have my sister, my brother-in-law, all 5 of the kids, Olivia's fiance, us 2, my mother, and August, like it pretty
earlier every year, guys.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It usually sits dormant all year. Around second week in August, we started up where we
pick names.
We pick names, like we
talk
do
about that after
we do
too,
the name drop where we do like the wheel spin and everyone gets a name. And
the reason we did that was because
it was getting out of control.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was getting out of control, buying for everybody, and of course, like, and with us being. Well, I guess you could say with us being adults, we basically buy everything we need all year anyway. So we don't need 5 or 6 different people buying us stuff. Mm-hmm. And I don't want, like, I tell the kids, like, they're always asking me what I want. I'm like, I don't need anything. We're totally fine. The one rule we have is, like, right now in the family, we have 4 kids.
Yes.
The twins, and then my 2 nephews are 9 and 3. So they, the one rule is all 4 kids get something from everybody because they're still young enough and they don't understand why they wouldn't get a gift from us or from Nana or anything like that. They don't understand that. So, but we always put a limit of like $20 or $25 for each kid. And the limit for your name that you draw is 100. And actually this year, the twins wanted to be involved with that draw, but they're still going to get something from, like from Uncle Brian and Nana and everything. So, but, so it's $100 maximum, but in August we do the name draw and then we start discussing what we're going to have on Christmas Eve.
That's our favorite because as soon as we finish Christmas Eve, we're like, oh, I like that. But you know what would have been better? This.
Yeah.
One year we did chicken wings that cost us almost $1,000 for everyone.
Oh, it was ridiculous. Yeah. And they weren't really that good.
No, they weren't.
No, well, because it was an hour away.
Yeah.
And
they were ice cold.
They were ice cold. So we had to heat them all up in the oven and they got soggy and they lost all their sauce. And
so now we like do your own sandwiches, don't we?
Yeah, we're doing, there's going to be 4 different soups and a chili. And we're doing make your own subs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as long as there's a bottle of bourbon kicking around, I'm happy. So.
Yeah. And then, of course, then you have your cookies and your chips and all that stuff.
Another thing about bourbon and that sort of thing, Costco. We found there's just, I don't know, Costco for certain things has some of the best prices. And I usually buy Maker's Mark for Christmas time, and they have the best price that we found, haven't they, babe?
Yeah.
And so it's one step closer says we always get some tamales. If anybody else wants to throw in the comments what your Christmas Eve routine or tradition is, I'd like to hear
year
it.
We did, remember we were doing all the finger foods.
Oh yeah, we did a lot of finger foods last year. It was a lot of work.
Painful.
Yeah.
That was painful because because we always do Christmas Eve. Or no, last year was at Gracie's.
Yeah.
And so the year before that was all the finger foods. And we did it at my house at our house, we only have the one stove.
Yep.
So you're trying to get 25 different finger foods cooked in the stove, and you can't. And then, but this year we have the air fryer, but you can't run the air fryer in the microwave because it busts the breaker. And it's like everyone's standing around, they're all hungry and cranky, and then you get all the food going, but then sometimes it overcooks because some of it had thawed, and so we had burnt chicken things, remember all those things that were burnt, and
I'm
because
going
they
to
cooked too quick.
throw this tip up. You're right, Joe. It's the same way here in Canada too, which I didn't realize, but yeah. So you do not need a Costco membership to buy liquor at the Costco liquor store. So that's a great tip to save money. Also, another tip is if you want to buy something at Costco, but you don't want to buy a membership, get yourself a Costco gift card and they will let you in till you spend it there. So one of those things, which is absolutely great. But yes, and Cold War says he's going to look for Christian Brothers eggnog and Eagle Rare bourbon. I always love hearing that. What else?
But just saying for
baby.
Costco though, honestly, the $60 a year is worth it.
Yeah.
It is like
if you spend there, you know.
Yeah, like well, if you're into prepping and stocking and everything, like I've done a lot of price comparisons and compared some prices from Costco to Walmart. Like Costco's way better.
Oh yeah.
So like
not canned goods though.
Not canned good, and their meat is a little.
Chris Dixon says nobody has ever saved money at the Costco liquor store. Okay, let's just say you can buy liquor in a larger quantity for a smaller price per liter. Let's leave it at that. And Cold War says liquor stores outside the store itself, beer and wine inside. Well, here everything's out in the liquor store because nothing's on the shelf in the grocery stores.
Not allowed to.
Yeah.
They'd have too many people drinking it in the aisle.
And Pipin says, guilty pleasures, pigs in a blanket. Always love pigs in a blanket.
We did have those. I think those were the ones that burnt.
Yeah,
those were one of the ones that burnt too, because they thawed.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he's what else do we have here? Hunter says he's been looking at that whiskey barrel. Not going to get it, but any idea how much it is, Hunter? Because that sounds interesting. An entire barrel of whiskey, unless that might be what Chris Dixon did when he bought a portion of a barrel of scotch too. So that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, and of course all the kids are older this year, they're all older, so they all drink, and I'm not sure. I think Gracie drinks Mike's, which are and Curtis and Olivia drink Fireball and beer, and so they don't have any taste yet.
Martinson family says mushroom laced medibles. I'll share a story sometime about that. But that's another story for another night. Maybe some night you get me a little drunk.
We can share the story of Olivia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you can buy edibles up here, and there was this really, really nice lady in Edmonton. Her name is Brenda. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And she made edibles, and I told her, I said, well, my two older kids, they smoke. So I need something strong enough that it's gonna affect them. And she goes, oh, I can make it strong enough. It'll knock them on their asses. So she made this fudge, and I told them that they're only supposed to eat a little tiny corner of it. And our oldest girl, Liv, sometimes I don't know how she functions, but she sat on the couch.
Barely. She
ate the entire fudge piece. And I don't even think she was on this planet. No. She was sitting on the couch, and she was pale as a ghost, and I think she was sleeping with her eyes open, and she didn't even know where she was, and I think it took her like 6 hours to come down.
Well, I might as well share the story, hey?
Go for it.
Yeah. So you guys, anybody who came in tonight is going to be in for a treat. So a few years ago at Christmas time, we had a friend of ours, your best lady man, wherever Rodney, he would always come home, and on Christmas Eve we would always do some drinking, and he brought some THC candies with him. And so the first night, this was on the 23rd, I sat down and I had a couple drinks, and I had one, and I was feeling pretty good. And then the next night, I think I started drinking just a little too early, so I was feeling pretty good, and he gave me 3, and he said, just eat one, and then in a few hours, take a second one.
Yeah.
So I sat down, and I was already feeling pretty good. I took one edible, and I felt nothing. I'm like,
because he was already drunk.
Yes. So I took a second one, and once again, I felt nothing. So I took the third one and felt nothing for about 10 minutes. And then I was high as fuck. I hadn't smoked or anything in years.
Well, and tell us, like you said, I'm just going to the bathroom, and we're all in the living room, and we're all talking and carrying on, and we were going to start playing Cards of Humanity, and then we realized, we're like, well, geez, where's Tim? And I'm like, he's been up in that bathroom for like 45 minutes. So I'm like, I went up there and he was sitting on the toilet and he was staring off into the wall. And I think you said something along the lines that you could see numbers or
numbers and colors. It was the only way to describe it was it looked like, the opening of the Matrix when the green waterfalls and the numbers. It was honestly, it was scary because I had no idea. And I couldn't get enough to drink. I probably drank.
Gray.
Yeah, I was gray. I probably drank like maybe 3 gallons of water. I was parched. I'd lay down in the bed. I'd sit up. I'd lay down. I'd sit up. I'd walk. I couldn't do anything. I was literally fucked. And so that was the last time I ever touched that shit. It absolutely one step closer said, "Did you see the ghost of Hunter S. Thompson?" I saw everything under the sun, I'll tell you. But the crazy thing was I woke up the next day with my anxiety was a little off, but other than that, I was fine. But it was the fucking craziest thing I've ever done. I'll never do it again.
You haven't done it since.
No, so, I never touched it. And it was, oh my God, because I was, see, just don't mix shit, right, guys? And I read a story later on from the New York Times, I think it was, or New York Post or something. This lady went and bought it to test. She was a journalist. So she flew to Colorado, got some and had it in her hotel room by herself. And she said it was one of the scariest things she ever did too. So Chris Dixon says, I can hear colors. That's exactly what it was. And Joe says, is fentanyl on your Christmas list? Oh, hey, Porterhouse is in here. He said, LOL, I did the same with pot brown brownies. 8-3, freaked the fuck out last time I ever did weed.
Yeah, Tim hasn't done it since.
Hunter says, my heart is beating backwards. That's exactly it. So years ago when I worked the thing was, growing up in high school, weed wasn't that strong. They've made it a lot more potent. So, you'd pick up a joint and smoke it once in a while.
Well, and we don't know where Rod got these
No.
candies from, so we don't know how much was in it either. And he had them in his pocket wrapped in wax paper.
They reminded me of cough drops. They were the size of a cough drop. And so years ago when I was working at Dairy Queen, just before I met Becky, these old stoners, they were like hippies come through, and I treated them good, give them a deal on their food or something. And they're like, hey, give them a tip. So they give me a joint. And so I took it home and sat on it for like 3 months. And I finally got up the nerve to smoke it. And it must have been laced with something because I got up and it was snowing. And I went out for the fastest jog walk I had ever done in my entire life. And that was like the only time before that. So that was like 20 years before this story. So obviously me and we don't mix. So back to Christmas,
Yes.
Prepping for family coming to the house. So because that can be,
yeah. Well, what was that? 3 years ago, we had Raiden and
Mac's roommates and stuff.
Yeah, our son's roommates from the city. There was 3 boys. They all came down. So we set up in the basement. We had pallets with mattresses.
Yeah, that was a great idea.
It was a great idea. They had their own bathroom, and because we have a smaller house now, so we don't have the extra bedrooms or anything.
We did that so they wouldn't move home.
Exactly. Yeah, so they so we set them up in the basement with the pallets and the mattresses, and they were comfy. They stayed for 2 nights and they had a great time.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And but this year, all the kids have their own houses. So, but this year we purchased the house that our son's living in, and there's an apartment upstairs.
Chris Dixon knows about that as well.
Yes.
He stayed there last time he was home.
Yeah, so we're going to put up
we're turning it into kind of like a suite for people to stay in.
Yeah, like somewhere for like if your parents come out and visit or your sister or whatever. And so we're going to turn it into like a little tiny apartment, furnish it with some stuff, and that's where Liv and her fiance are going to be staying. And but before then, we had to accommodate all the kids coming home. So, and not last year, but the year before, Mackenzie and Raiden stayed at Mom's house. Mm-hmm. And then we had the 2 older girls here. And the twins don't like getting kicked out of their bedrooms. So we have to set up something.
Christmas 2020, we might as well, I'm sure the statute of limitations is over this, but but it was 100% not just frowned upon, but it was illegal. It was illegal to have anyone at your house for Christmas that wasn't from your house. And we said, fuck it, of course.
Well, no, and I did because
you said, God damn, it's not going to ruin our Christmas, right?
Well, extended family, we could have passed, but I'll be darned, the government's not keeping my kids away from me on Christmas. So I And of course, and
We found places to hide their cars.
Yeah, we parked their cars all over the
in
place.
garages and empty properties I had, and we all come home, we locked the doors, we pulled the blinds down, and we had a normal Christmas.
And even my sister was here with her husband, and we had a great time. But like, you know, we ended up kicking the twins out of their room, and they had to sleep on the couch. So they were, and they're teenagers now, so that won't happen this year. So we had to set up everything for them. Hunter
says prepping for when family comes over, work overtime whilst they're here. That sounds like, wasn't it Clark W. Griswold there? He's like, I'll be out. What's he doing? I forget what he says he's going to do outside when all the family shows up. But yeah, that's kind of what we're.
It's hard to do when you work for yourself, because everyone knows you're not working.
Yeah, it's very true. You know. Yeah. So, and Pipin says, here, Aunt Karen, have a brownie snack before dinner. And Chris Dixon says, my street was full of cars in front of our house, and the cops kept driving by, and we'd wave from the porch. No one bugged us. I got cameras on the outside of the house. I called a buddy of mine who was a cop in Edmonton. I said, what do I do if they show up? He says, just don't answer the door. We never had to worry about it, but it didn't matter. We had Christmas.
But in this town, there were people who reported people. Yeah, there was people ratting people, which really sucks for a small town, because in a small town, people should be pulling together, not ratting each other out. But it happened, right? But
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but I wasn't letting it bother me.
But yeah, like we love having. We really do have a small house, so we really have to get creative with. You know, we eat in the living room. We moved the coffee table out of the way. Talk about the game you guys love to play, and I love to sit and watch you play.
Well, this year we've got 2 games that we're doing. We have a table that we line at the end. We're going to line up paper bags, and each paper bag's going to have a prize, and then you throw ping pong balls. And if they land in the bag, then you get the prize.
And what do I do while you play those games?
You sit and you drink.
Yeah, kind of like what I do when you decorate the Christmas tree. I sit and I drink.
But we're going to, but the game we play every year is our Saran ball. And
explain that.
So what it is you take a main prize in the middle, which is usually like an Amazon gift card, and you wrap it with Saran wrap. You just like not a continuous strand, but just like
multiple
pieces at a time. And then you wrap in scratch tickets and candy and gift cards, and it gets about, I don't know, the one that Olivia and Gracie made that one year, I think it had to be about 20 pounds.
It was the size of a medicine ball. Like,
yeah, it was huge.
You know, about 1.5 basketballs.
And then you roll dice. The one person gets the ball, and the person beside them rolls dice, and you have oven mitts on, and you have to peel the Saran wrap off, and you get to go at the ball until the person beside you rolls doubles.
Right.
And if they roll doubles, then you move it along, and it just keeps going. And if you unwrap it and you end up with like 15 scratch tickets, they're all yours.
Yeah. And you guys have fun. Hunter said they did it once. It was fun. Yeah. I love sitting back.
It is really fun. It is.
I don't know if it's just the old man in me or the father in me, but I prefer to sit back and enjoy the atmosphere. I love to watch people have fun. Even in the morning, I just love to hand all the gifts out. I don't care if I open any. I just love to let everybody, well, that's so one step closer. That is really cool. They say that we always end up playing dominoes, and the games get louder as the night goes on. Well, I got to tell you that the unofficial game of the Cook family, so from my grandfather to my father and us, is dominoes. And we always used to get together on Christmas Eve at my grandfather's house, and we would play dominoes as well. And my dad's family is teetotaler, so there's no drinking involved, but they're loud from the minute they start.
They're loud since they wake up.
There's lots of hot air coming out of both ends, and they just they fight. And they don't fight. They pick on each other, and they pretend to cheat, and they just have a ball. And it was always fun as a kid, and yeah, we always enjoyed that, eh?
Yeah, I don't think we could the problem is like that's the Cook side.
Yeah.
But then you have my side, which is the Cooper side, and we're competitive.
Oh yeah.
So we have to have games that basically get us competing with each other and getting a tad violent. So that's how we roll.
Chris Dixon says, I love building the toys and shit. So one thing that we end up finding, one thing we do is we clean up as we go. Again, maybe it's the old person in us, but A few things. Two reasons why we do it. Number one is it makes it easier because
Yep.
when you're done, once everything's opened, I walk around like an old man with a big trash bag and I'm like, okay, are you done unwrapping it? And throw it in the bag. And then I tie it up and I have to put it out on the deck. Two reasons. Number one, we're not tripping over anything. And number two, nothing gets lost that way.
Oh, remember we lost that
yes,
phone charger?
Cordless. Oh my God, it was a cordless phone. So back like 15 years ago,
Olivia wanted a phone in her room.
Yes.
So we bought her a cordless phone, and we told her, we've told the kids every year, if you get something in a box that requires assembly, pieces, or
don't open it until
do not open it until we clean up all the wrapping paper. And what does she do? She opens it.
Gift cards have gone that way too. That's why we clean up as we go, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, so she lost her phone charger, so the phone was garbage because we couldn't find another one.
So as far as Christmas Day, let's talk about some of the meal prep we do.
Well, Christmas Eve morning.
Yes.
Well, this year, well, no, I should be able to do it this year because Christmas Eve is on Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Christmas Eve morning, I always get the turkeys ready to go.
Yep.
The ham ready to go.
Low and slow.
And then I get
we pre-cook all the veggies.
Except for the potatoes.
Right.
So basically Christmas morning, the only thing I have to do is make the stuffing, the gravy, and the potatoes.
Because what we found was, over the years, it would really add a lot of stress to Christmas Day by doing all the prep that day. Something else you do is you buy those
disposable pans.
Yep.
Like we have a dishwasher now, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
But we always eat on disposable plates.
And somebody out there, the tree hugger, anybody out there, you're going to hate us for it, but
I don't care. We use disposable plates all year because I even though I have a dishwasher, I still hate loading it. I still hate unloading it. So, but
those big tinfoil pans.
But the big tinfoil, because we can cook. We do the sweet potatoes and the squash, and we get them all prepped, and we wrap them in tinfoil, and we put them in this time of year, we can put them out on the deck.
Yep.
Under the barbecue, so they stay cold. And then in the morning, we throw them in the oven, and we heat them up. And then the turkeys cook overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the morning,
200, 250?
250 overnight.
Yep.
And then in the morning, we debone it.
Yep.
And then we put it all in the disposable pan.
And she always wants me to do it before it's cooled down so that I burn my fingertips off, just for the record.
But we debone it. But then when dinner's all said and done, we use those disposable pans for people to take home all their leftovers so they're not stealing my containers.
Yep.
And then when they get them home, they can put it in their own containers, then throw the pans away.
Cold War says, wife is a Methodist, I'm a Catholic, so I always get to put the Santa gifts out after I come back from midnight mass. Yeah, for me, it's the cookies and milk for Santa.
Well,
when they were younger.
Our kids are too old for that now, which I this much miss, but I'm so glad we don't have to keep that charade on anymore because there is nothing worse than being up at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to assemble 2 Dora tricycles when you know that these kids are going to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning. There is nothing worse.
I know. Yes. And that's something we were pretty good at, wasn't it? We were putting things together ahead of time the best we could.
We did the best we could, and we kept the charade going. I think all the kids were good until they hit, the earliest one was Gracie when they told her at school.
Yep.
But she come home at 6 and she was crying and everything. Remember, I told her, I said, so what do you believe?
Yeah.
And she said, well, I believe he's real. And I said, well, then he is. And I think she was all the way till 12, right? Like, but there is like when they, and of course now we have this rule, and I think we had it when the twins turned 6 or 7, they were not allowed to leave their bedrooms until 8 o'clock.
Oh yeah, we've done that, and that's been huge, right?
That's been huge because, and that is from when I was a kid, because I was a little jerk when I was a kid. I would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would wake up my brother and my sister with all their stockings, and then we would go down and start opening up presents before my parents were awake.
Yeah, and that's not fair because
that's not fair. But we were jerks, right?
Yeah.
So, and like even when I got to the point when I knew Santa wasn't real, I still did it. So I implemented this rule that they are not allowed to leave their rooms until, if they want to have their stockings, they can, but they cannot leave their rooms till 8 o'clock.
Yeah. And it's worked,
Yeah.
you know, because our kids like to sleep in, but it takes some of the stress off us because I'm still up before them anyway.
Yeah.
I make myself a pot of coffee. I sit down, have a cup of coffee. And then by that time, everybody's kind of rounding around and coming in. And I was just thinking when I was a kid talking about my dad's family, well, now, of course, we're out here in Alberta. Mom and dad are in Nova Scotia. And so we'll call them middle of the day. You know, we'll FaceTime now, which is crazy. But I was thinking as a kid, we always used to call my Aunt Carolyn, God rest her soul. She's since passed, but she lived in New Brunswick, which is only a 5-hour drive away. But we'd always have to be careful about how long we talked because you remember you paid for your long distance by the minute back in the day.
Yeah.
And when I was a little kid, it was like $1 a minute or something. So we would every year we would swap. So one year we would call Aunt Carolyn. The next year she would call us, so we wouldn't always have to pay the bill. And boy, haven't times changed, hey?
Oh yes, yeah. But even now, it's like, but we always make sure that the kids call and thank for the, you know. But it's and of course, my mom just lives one street over, so she always comes over on Christmas morning. So because we always do her up a stocking from Santa, and but then I always hold back a couple gifts to give her on Christmas morning because she's widowed. So, but it's all like it usually starts about 8:30.
Yeah.
And now the kids are getting older too. It's more of a chore to get them out of bed.
We used to have a big bacon and egg breakfast on Christmas, but then
we don't do that.
We found it ruined our Christmas meal, right? So we kind of got away from it the best we could. Yeah. And so when we leftovers, one of our favorite things to do is to chop up the turkey, mix it with the gravy, and then make hot turkey sandwiches with it, right?
Yeah, and then I always keep the turkey juice for soup.
Yep.
And I always have leftover.
Last at Thanksgiving, when real Thanksgiving in October, we canned the turkey broth, didn't we?
And
first time we've done that. Yeah. So we're gonna try that. And
and well, years ago, remember we used to make the TV dinners.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
we had the foil plates from the Dollarama, and we would do up TV dinners because you used to take them to work and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd stack them in the deep freeze and write on top of them the date and everything, and it would like had a little bit of everything. But now we don't keep a lot of leftovers because it ends up going in the garbage. So we I always
freeze dryer is going to come in handy eventually.
I always send a ton of stuff with everybody, and because like we always cook. Well, there's 15 of us, 16 of us,
and we share the meal. The meal. Well, we do most of the meal prep, but
it's just easier that way.
But then leftovers, because we don't have room in the fridge, so we send a lot with everybody.
Well, because this year we have the 15-pound ham.
Yep.
And then I've got 3 turkeys, and then we've got all the veggies and everything. So like, but everybody appreciates leftovers because my mom makes the TV dinners, and Amy sends Barrett with his meals for work and everything, and like so it benefits everybody.
Cold War Prepper says we used to call person to person collect to let them know we arrived home safe. Of course, the codename person we wanted would never be there, and they'd refuse the charge. So when I was a kid and in junior high, we didn't have cell phones. I would be downtown, and I would pick up, and I'd leave the message, and I would say, "Hey, Mom, come pick me up at Captain's Cabin." And then she'd pick up, and they would pick up, and they'd be like, "Hey, you have a call from, hey, Mom, pick me up at Captain's Cabin. Do you accept the charges?" And I could hear Mom talking. She'd be like, "I'll be right there," and then she'd hang up. So the things we used to do.
I do that with my dad too. If I didn't have any money, make a collect call, and they'd be like, "Hey, Dad, come pick me up from school." And like I would never like, why pay for it if you don't have to?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. What about let's see, wrapping? Any hints for saving on okay.
Well, wrapping is the best thing to do is to buy the stuff clearance at the end of the year.
Yes.
And because it doesn't go bad.
We both do that. You and I both. We buy everything seasonal after the season's over.
Yeah. So I always find like don't go to Costco or TJ Maxx, Home Goods or Home Sense or anything and spend, $10, $20, $30 on wrapping paper and boxes. Just go to the Dollar Tree or Dollarama.
Now this year you bought bulk wrapping paper from Costco.
I did.
Have you been impressed with that?
Yeah. I have been impressed with it, but I'm kind of disappointed at the cost of it.
Yeah, it was.
I shouldn't have paid that much for it. But I buy all my gift boxes. You get you get a double pack of 2 big ones for $1.25.
LG says hello. Just wanted to, hello, Mrs. Toolman. Thanks for spending some time with us today. Nice to have you, LG. So yes, one step closer. You will know if you followed. Well, anyway, but I'm not the only one. I'm not the one who originated this. But yes, I buy all of anything we can get, especially white LED Christmas lights after Christmas. I'll go again this year and I've got some that I never even opened. They're all in my storage room, but they're worth it because you can get them for what? 10 to 20 cents on the dollar for sure.
We didn't pay that much at all for last year.
When we would always, every year we would buy at Walmart the clearance wrapping paper. We would buy bulk things of Christmas cards too, remember? Because Christmas cards, whatever, right?
Although we don't do Christmas cards.
No,
anymore.
we don't anymore for sure.
No, like the amount of and I don't want to make it sound like we're lazy about it, but the amount of effort that you put into it and then the cost of sending the card when it's you can just send a quick text message or a Facebook message or honestly, older people, I know they probably appreciate it, but I appreciate the cards that I get, but what do you do with them?
Pipin says I've been seeing people talking about this online about selling secondhand cardboard boxes.
Oh my goodness! Well, you tell them about all the boxes you cleared off yesterday.
Well, I wanted to tell you this story. So, talking about reusing boxes, my dad, of course, because he is the king of cheap or frugal, he years ago, I mean, we're talking back in the early 90s, he worked at a grocery store, and tuna used to come in flat boxes instead of shrink wrap like it is now. So a 24 or 12 pack came in these flat, long, kind of rectangular boxes. And he picked up, I don't know, 6 or 8 of them. And for the next 20 years until I moved out, any type of clothing would go in that stupid tuna box, get wrapped up, and then he'd be like, "Oh, Tim, you can't throw it out. Save the box." And it went up in the attic, and we reused it the next year. So, yep. And Martinson says the best is Canadian craft paper. I've thought about it. We've talked about it. I've got a whole roll of butcher's paper that we thought about using.
If you want to go that route, the big rolls of paper you get from IKEA for the easels. I think they're like $5. We use them at the daycare, and you get a lot of paper on that. But I find with the kids' ages now, most of the things that they want is clothing. So I don't wrap clothing, so I just put it in the gift boxes and I just tape it up. And
looks like a good idea. One Step Closer says, so no Toolman Tim family newsletter. Maybe we'll have to. I've got a mailing list that I've been kind of slack on sending stuff out to. So maybe we'll slide into that a little bit eventually. That'd be kind of fun. But so we covered Christmas, buying things after the fact for sure. What about New Year's? What do we do for New Year's a lot?
Honestly,
we don't.
Just food, and it's usually just Amy and Barrett and the kids that come over. But I think the last 2 years we really haven't done much. We're not partiers. We're not drinkers, and
we're typically partied out by the time Christmas is over. Anyway,
I think last Christmas weren't you down here on a podcast or
maybe or New Year's Eve or something?
Because it could. Well, Amy and Barrett have the baby, so he's 3 and he's got to be in bed at a good time, and just. I know we never make it to midnight.
No, rarely. That's true.
No.
Chris Dixon says they have a Sapiro Ichiban box that's been in circulation for 16 years in the family. So Pippin asks, any fireworks for New Year's Eve? And actually, there's a local guy who runs, he owns the local butcher shop.
Ben. Yeah.
Ben, he takes it upon himself to put on, he's an amateur pyrotechnic guy. He takes it upon himself to do a fireworks display over in the park or whatever, and he does a better job than a lot of people do.
And they are really nice, but the problem is that sometimes on New Year's, it's -30.
Oh yeah, it is, and the whole field is a sheet of crisped over snow, and
it's so cold. And usually they start about 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
no, midnight usually for.
Oh yeah. I can't.
Yeah, I know.
We did it. I turned into a pumpkin at 9. So
New Year's 2020, we went because everybody said we shouldn't go. We weren't supposed to be outside for fireworks. And Ben said, "Fuck it, we're having fireworks." And we all went, and it was one of the most fun times we had. And we kind of waited for the cops to show up. Nobody ever showed up, but we were all there, and it was like our stick it to the man kind of fireworks. It was great. I loved it. It was too much
Yeah,
fun.
the kid. I don't think did the kids go. I think they
Yeah,
did.
Ellie and Charlie went with
they
us.
did,
Yep.
Yeah.
LG says, lately I've been using reusable cloth bags as gift bags so the gift recipient can reuse the bag as an additional gift. You've got a few of those big cloth bags.
Yeah, I bought them from HomeSense.
But we don't give them away. We keep them and reuse them, right?
Well, oh no, I don't let the kids take those because I'll never get them back. Same with their stockings, because
we'll talk about stockings. How do you decide what goes into stockings?
Well, stockings I find every year I have the biggest struggle with.
Yeah.
Because
that's always
okay,
so
it's always the last thing.
She'll always, it'll be October, November. She'll be like, well, I got the kids bought for, and then I'll look at her and be like, what about the stockings? She'll be like, well,
I was rattling it off today. I'm like, okay, Max bought for except a stocking. Olivia and Curtis are bought for except for their stocking. Because like I find the stock. Well, I got nice. My aunt Shelley makes these beautiful stockings,
crocheted stockings, right?
And I had one when I was a kid, and I had it my entire childhood. And they have this incredible stretch to them, and you can jam a lot of crap in them. Oh
yeah,
and
you just kind of keep pulling it, and the stitches kind of stretch a little more,
stretching. So this year it's I try to put things that the kids like, and the kids being
practical stuff,
and same with their Christmas presents this year. It's they all sent me a list in August, and I'm like, I don't want a list of things that you want. Right. I want a list of things that you need, because they're all living on their own. And I don't care if you want a new video game system. I don't care if you want a new gaming computer. You're
an adult, so
yeah. If you want that stuff, you buy it on your own. But our oldest girl said that she asked for a deep freeze.
Yeah, which was freaking awesome.
Probably the most practical gift
into a stocking.
No, but so like for stockings, it's like deodorants, toothbrush, toothpastes, body washes.
Yeah.
I
chocolate orange.
Yeah, I don't give a lot of chocolate to the kids because none of them eat it. Mackenzie likes his licorice.
Yep.
So I'm always putting licorice in there. But and the 3 older kids, they love scratch tickets. So I'm always putting scratch tickets in there. But it's all practical stuff. And like nothing, like when they were little, it was candy and all that stuff that they liked. But now they're just getting a little bit older. And like the twins, they got chocolate last year and they still have it up in their room. So they don't eat it. So I'm not wasting the money on it. I'll get them something that they want.
So something we're doing this year, I actually did a show on it last year. So if you guys watched it, we talked about putting together an emergency kit for all of our adult kids. So we extended a little bit this year because we ended up running out of time. By the time I did the episode, we didn't think we'd have time to get everything here.
No.
So we skipped it. But of course, I keep everything on my phone. So it was still in the notepad, and we put together, the kids aren't going to watch this, but we put together an emergency kit for them this year. And I'm going to do a breakdown on it down the road. But we also put together a couple of household toolboxes or tool bags, right?
Well, one for our oldest, which is our son.
Yep.
Because he's 25 now. And he doesn't have any of the basic necessities.
Not a whole lot, no.
No, like,
very little.
He's always over here. Dad, can I borrow your drill? Dad, can I borrow your hammer? Can I borrow
cheap insurance for me this way?
Yeah, so like this, and Olivia's fiance he's 26, and he doesn't have any of that kind of stuff. So we bought him same thing, like a little bag with a hammer and a socket set and something that multi-bit screwdriver, stuff that he can keep so that he doesn't have to borrow it all the time. And it's his.
And it's his, and it's the type of thing that at their age they don't have the disposable income to even put together just a toolbox, right?
Yeah.
And if they did, it would probably be dollar store stuff. So this is stuff that if they look after it, it wasn't expensive, but it'll last them a lifetime. Or
no, the little hammer, it wasn't little. The hammer that we got him, the Craftsman,
16-ounce Craftsman hammer was $10.
It was $9.97 on Amazon.
Yes.
And so like it's nothing fancy, but it was a fiberglass one, so it should last them forever, right? And unless of course they get done with it.
Yeah, but whatever, But and the emergency kit was the fire spray stuff, a battery pack, an Anchor battery pack, a multi-bit screwdriver, a rechargeable pack of AA batteries with a charger, and headlamp, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
And
something
so-
that they can keep in their car or whatever. And
we're going to put it all in a little container for them, right?
Yep.
And yeah. One Step Closer says, will DeWalt batteries fit into a stocking? Well, I'm just thinking that'd be a really good post-apocalyptic weapon. You imagine that's like better than a bag of better than a sack of doorknobs. Put a couple of 5 amp hour DeWalt batteries in there, whack, and then eventually the acid comes out and it blows up in their face. Yeah, it'd be awesome. So
well, and same with the books and the toys there.
which one? Okay,
yeah. We honestly we never really bought the kids a lot of toys because all year round, like, and especially in the new year after the summer. Remember when we lived out east, like we would hit all these yard sales.
Oh yeah.
So the kids would always come home with like crap ton of like toys from the yard sales. And so like when I'm clean, remember the foyer that the twins had, they had so many, they had enough toys for like 10 kids because like, like if you buy a bag of Barbies for $2, they would take them home. So,
and that was better. We saved a lot that way because,
we did.
Because dolls are dolls for the most part, and they tend to tear them apart and break them and lose the shoes. Remember the shoes? Yeah.
Well, and then like
whole bags.
And when they went through that Frozen, they had that 3-foot Elsa doll.
Yeah.
They were the one twin Alice absolutely loved this doll, and we got it at a yard sale for like $3. And she would do her hair and dress her up and everything like that. And remember, you came home that one day and Charlotte was setting it up in the living room and she was drop kicking it.
I forgot about that.
Like she was just beating the crap out of this doll, and I'm thinking, and she was beating. I couldn't imagine paying $100 for that, and she was breaking this doll. So it just got to the point where they were just kind of like, they would get a couple toys that they really liked, but it's like clothing. Because and
we did learn when the other kids were younger that toys weren't really appreciated. And,
no, they weren't.
And not even, and it's not the kids' fault. It's just toys are toys and they would break them. So we tried to get practical stuff.
If you give them too many toys at Christmas, then they get overwhelmed and they don't play with anything.
Exactly.
And video games. Do not, well, most of the Xboxes now are digital. But our son, he had to have that Assassin's Creed game in the worst way. And of course, we were short for money and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, you know what? Well, we'll see what happens. So they had a sale, and I ended up getting the game. I think it was like $87. And I was so proud that I was able to get this game. And he opened it at Christmas morning, and then he came down on Boxing Day, and he was hemming and hawing that he was bored, yada, yada. And I said, go play your game. I can't, Mom. I already beat it. $87, and he played it for like 8 hours, and he beat the game.
And that was
and he never played it again.
No,
never played it again. So I'm like, guess what? You're never getting another game from me.
Right. We'll get you practical stuff.
Yeah, and I since then I have not bought him any video games, and I refuse to.
I did that to my mother.
He can buy his own
Donkey Kong Country. I had to have it, and it was like well over $100 back in the 90s. And I got it and beat it in 2 days. And yeah. So
and I never bought him another game after that. But no practical stuff for the kids. Like, well, this year we're doing bed sheets and comforters and clothing. And our oldest girl works a lot on her feet, so I got her a couple pairs of running shoes and pants and shirts and socks and stuff like that they need. Like nothing. Like and our son-in-law lays flooring, and he didn't want to ask, and I told myself, well, we need a gift for you, and he asked for knee pads.
Yeah. And that, you know, what do they say? Never cheap out. I don't know if you guys ever heard this saying before, but never cheap out on something that separates you from the ground, whether that's tires, a mattress, boots, or knee pads.
Yep.
And it is absolutely worth it, right?
And of course, and I bought him, and I'm buying him a new pair of work boots too, because that is a strict thing I try to beat into their heads at all time, is that the most important thing that you can have when you're working is proper footwear.
Yeah.
If you do not have proper footwear, then you're always sore and you're aching. And if your feet hurt, then you can't work.
Everything hurts.
Everything hurts. And then you're not productive. And I have tried to beat that into their heads since they were like 15, and they were buying those cheap
Oh, like,
Like,
yeah, you get them at, we didn't, the
Yeah.
Sandstorm, different, or,
yeah,
right,
like even Walmart, like their some of their shoes are good, but they were buying like the Walmart brand running shoes that were like $20, and they would wear them for like 3 weeks and then have to buy another pair because the glue would let go or anything. And I was like, well, by the time you buy 4 pairs of that at $100, you could buy $100 pair of shoes and they'll last you for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to beat that into them. But so we got them, all practical stuff this year, and nothing really that will just end up being ridiculous.
No,
not
it
used.
was
Like, it just, I'm trying to figure out what else. And like the twins, they didn't ask for anything this year.
they're
like,
pretty easy going.
Yeah.
So we had we might as well wrap her up tonight. We've been an hour. I can't believe we made it an hour, but somebody mentioned earlier, it might have been Hunter, I can't remember, talking about gift ideas for preppers. So I thought maybe you might want to come back on and we'll do another episode on something like that.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. Just gift ideas in general, right?
Well, and I can put it out there too, that if for any husbands out there, from a wife's perspective, if your wife says she doesn't want anything for Christmas, she wants something.
Yes, just fucking don't beat around the bush,
Yeah.
So.
No, if she says no, I don't need anything, I don't want anything, buy her something for Christmas because she wants something. I promise.
LG says proper footwear is so important. I remember buying cheap sneakers and getting holes in them by the end of the month. Yes.
Yeah, it is. And like, if you're on your feet all the time, it is awful.
And One Step Closer says a poor man always pays twice. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, mom and dad were never well-to-do by any means, but dad always beat it in my head that it pays to buy quality. Now, we didn't always live by that when we were broke as a joke before.
No, but I remember when you were working at Home Hardware there, and you were buying those cheap shoes, and we were buying them every month, and they were $45.
Or I could go buy, yep.
And then I told you, I said, you know what? Why don't we just take the $90 and buy you the pair of New Balance? And you fought with me on it, but eventually you did, and you realized the difference, and those shoes lasted you 6 months as opposed to a month.
And it's true. It makes a big difference, doesn't it? So, well, Mrs. Cook, you good to wrap it up for tonight?
I am.
We're going to have we got a blizzard coming and be up.
Oh, yes, that is a good one.
What one is it?
Do not buy your women clothes.
Where does it say that? Okay, yes.
Do not buy them clothes. My sister had said that the other day. Her husband went and bought her a shirt.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. I didn't hear about that.
Do not try to guess their sizes. Do not try to assume what they will like. The best thing to do is to find out nonchalantly what store they like and buy them a gift card.
Absolutely.
And let them buy their own clothing.
I would never imagine to buy you anything that you wore. Not even a hat. I wouldn't even buy you a hat.
Do not buy your women clothes.
No.
Do not. And especially don't buy them underwear, bras, socks. Don't even.
But you can't win, because if you buy it too small, they'll be like, what do you think? What do you say? And then if you buy it too big, what would they say, right?
Exactly. Do not. But if you're in the mall with your wife and you see her go into like La Senza or into Victoria's Secrets, then she likes to shop there. But sometimes women will go into these stores just to look. It doesn't necessarily mean they like to shop there.
Just pay attention.
And if you do not know which store they shop at, prepaid Visa card.
So you know what's worked for me for
stuff.
years? For years, I have looked at Becky and I'll say, and honey, what did I get you this year for Christmas? Because I can't go wrong with that.
No, and I do like surprises.
Yeah,
I do. You do surprise me with some stuff.
Yeah.
But seriously, if you do not know what store your wife shops at and you prepaid Visa cards, do not buy any, because especially if you buy like a Victoria's Secrets card and then she's the type that would be like, oh, what makes you think I would wear that kind of crap?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, don't go there.
Yeah.
No.
And vacuum cleaner, one other quick story. Our daughter, Gracie, when she was 14, asked for one for Christmas.
Yeah.
And we got it for her, and she loved it. And vacuum cleaner makes a great present, but just don't.
She asked me for one 2 years ago.
Yeah.
She wanted one. And there was, if they're asking for one, buy her one. But again, don't assume to know which one she wants.
Yeah, it's true.
So if
pay attention, ask questions.
If not, then find out where she wants it from. Gift card.
Yep, gift cards always work, right?
Yeah, because like it's best, and clothing, don't, I can't stress that enough. Do not buy your wife clothing. Do not buy your girlfriend clothing.
Unless you want to get divorced. I mean, that's a possibility,
Yeah.
but don't do it.
Yeah, because it will not end well.
Buy your woman a 410 shotgun. I bought my girls a 410 shotgun the other day, a few years back, and we fired it a few times, but not very many. So,
yeah.
All right, baby.
Yeah.
We're good. Thank you, guys. This was a lot of fun. I had a great time. We'll do another one before Christmas is here. I love having you on. I always have a good time, and we managed to work the tech bugs out, and we even managed to look the right way when we look at each other because we get the screens figured out, right? So. But yeah, anything else you wanted to share, baby doll?
No.
We're good?
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate you on this. It's not stormy everywhere, but on this horribly stormy Sunday evening. Thank you for coming in. And we had a great crowd, even though we had to restart the live stream. So thank you very, very much, guys. Hunter says 3 cheers for Mrs. Pipin says soon. We will. We'll have you on again soon, won't we, baby?
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. As always, stay happy. Stay healthy and have a great week.